Okay, this is my clinical goal just check-in video. So first, I'll just kind of list what my 3 goals were. So the first one was be considered competent to perform orthopedic evals and planning of initial treatments with preceptor feedback. So from Jason and or Carissa and Mike, they've been pretty influential too in my stuff, but mostly Jason. Within the first couple weeks of clinical practice. So my action steps for that were essentially perform at least 4 ortho evals a week, have my preceptor review them, and then also on top of that lay out my initial plan, and from there like get that preceptor feedback. Do I need to make any changes? Was it good? Was it bad? Etc. And so like that one has been going really well. I felt really confident, especially in my ortho eval part of this goal. I'm still kind of like getting back into the hang of things, but as week by week goes by, I'm more and more confident. Upper body is still something I struggle with. So like that's probably the thing I need the most help with. Jason, my preceptor, is fortunately like very good at upper body, so he's been helping me out a lot, especially with like we've had a bunch of shoulder stuff on the football team. Shoulders are my weak point in my like clinical eval process. He's been helping me like walk through some of these evals, especially the more difficult ones, and kind of give me tips and tricks and kind of what I should be looking for just in like general, helping me just refine my process. As for like treatment, like actual treatment planning, I felt really good about that. I haven't really, like I've been getting feedback from my preceptor. I've been feedback ideas, but overall I feel pretty competent doing that. Like I feel like I can take my eval, get my DX decisions, and then from there write up initial treatment plans and feel good about what I wrote down. And it's like, I feel good about this. We can do this for 4 to 6 weeks and then progress as we need to, depending on the injury. 4 to 6 weeks is just a made up time frame. But yeah, so that goal's been going really well. Goal 2, is acquire competency in monitoring environmental factors such as heat, cold, lightning, and other. So for that one, my action steps were to perform and document at least 2 instances per week where I'm actively monitoring weather during practice and or games, and then implementing best practice rules if applicable. So that one I have not been good about, mainly just because the weather has been pretty nice in Grinnell. Like we had one instance where we needed to check wet bulb temps. Other than that, air temp has been 70, 80s. We practice in the afternoons. The one other time it was applicable was at the Ripon game, but that was an away game, and the opposing staff kind of took care of that for us and gave us everything we needed, and we were in contact with them, so they were on top of that, and we just had to be on the radio and kind of know what was going on. But in general, haven't been good about doing that. Need to be better. Just even if I'm not like, just getting a reminder to do it, even if it's like, oh, it's nice outside, I don't need to do it. It's still good practice. Be like, oh, let me do it. Let me check radar, weather, etc. As the year goes on, I think it'll be better. It's like we've had thunderstorms rolling in, so that's got to be something we got to start watching for. And then as October, November roll in, like it'll start getting colder, and we might have to make some changes for that. As for like what kind of assistance I need for that, I feel like preceptor assistance would be the best thing for me, just with kind of just like reminders to like keep up on practicing these skills. Or if my preceptor is like, oh, we should do wet bulb today just because it's, it's hot out. And it's just that reminder, be like, hey, James, let's do wet bulb, go get the wet bulb, take the measurement, write it down, Do we have to, implement best practices? Okay. Goal 3, become competent with communication with stakeholders, especially coaches, regarding athlete status for games, practice, and other activities. So for this one, my action steps were to be involved in the communication process for athletes in regard to their injury. And so, all injured athletes are put on a daily updated injury list. Preceptor feedback on making my clinical decisions with these athletes. And then getting that communication with the coaches, either at practice or in their office, kind of when those injuries happen or after they happen, to kind of update them on how they are, if they have any questions that weren't answered by the injury report. The injury report is it's an Excel sheet that we share between myself, Jason, and the football staff. So it's updated every single day with the athletes that we see in the clinic. So the only barriers we have communication-wise, if there's just something that requires like a little bit more detail, right? We still follow all like privacy concerns with the athletes, but they sign all their privacy waivers. They release their information to the coaches unless they state otherwise, and so we're able to just take our clinical decisions, put them on the spreadsheet, and everybody can see them, and it makes communication really easy. I feel good about that. It's been just something we do every single day. Is we go over this sheet, we put in who we need to, we take off who we need to, make notes, etc. So that's been really good. It's been making talking with these coaches super easy because they already know what's going on before we even see them at practice, or if they have questions about an athlete, they already have like a base understanding of what's going on. And they're not just kind of in the dark with kind of what's going on with their athletes. So the one thing that I'm still kind of learning with this is kind of like making those clinical decisions about like, can this player play? Can they practice? Like, what are their restrictions? Do we have to pull them out? Can they do like half-speed individual drills but no contact? So kind of like working through that and still figuring out like what exactly each athlete can do in regards to their injury, and like recovery times, and like communicating that with coaches and the athlete themselves. I'm still learning, and again with that, like Jason, my preceptor, has been great, kind of like giving me insight on like how long these things should last. Can this player play? But I'm still kind of like, some things are super simple. If an athlete sprains their ankle, they can't walk, they have to get an x-ray. Yeah, they're not playing until their strength's back, range of motion's back. But on some like littler injuries where their pain scale is that 1 to 3, but sometimes it shoots up into that 4, 5, they're fully functional, they have full strength. Like when we're in those like gray areas, like making those decisions is still difficult on whether this player can play or if it's best practice to pull them out for a week or two, resolve their pain, whatever issue they have, and then put them back. So still learning. My preceptor's been great about like helping me like make those decisions. It's been good. Like oftentimes I'll see an athlete and then I'll go see my preceptor. And then if I tell that athlete one thing, my preceptor goes, oh wait, actually let's do this. Usually he'll go talk to them or I'll go with him and we'll kind of rehab the discussion about playing time. And that's been good practice to kind of watch him, how he communicates with his athletes, and kind of see what he thinks about injuries. And then I've started applying that to my own practice, and it's getting better. I'm still just kind of in that learning phase for just like these decisions, right? So, phone just fell. For faculty feedback, just continued feedback on my rubrics, especially my like my ortho eval / treatment rubrics. Some of those I don't feel confident with like how I'm documenting. So far I feel good about it, but I also feel like I don't put in everything I could, if that makes sense. So like I've been catching myself, like I'll have, say, like I'll have MOI, DOI, but I won't have like did it happen before or after practice. It's like little details kind of like that would kind of help with like understanding what's going on. I haven't been great with putting into my notes. So when I turn in rubrics, any kind of feedback about that would be nice. And then my preceptor gives me feedback because we use P&C at Grinnell. He sees all the notes I do. He has to approve them. So he's giving me feedback there, but just kind of getting that second view on what I turn in for class, for clinical especially, would be nice. That's all I have for this assignment. This is just that update on the clinical goals. Thank you.